All right, guys, how are we doing? Okay, so here's one of the reasons we're doing this show is because I miss talking to these two guys. One of the reasons I started this show was so, like, I love Donnie's thoughts. I love Gov's thoughts. We have very unique, different thoughts. And I'm like, you know what? If I want to talk to these guys on a weekly basis during the NFL season, why don't I just broadcast it? Why don't I just make it a thing? So if I miss something Gov tells me, I can just watch it back. Like, honestly, that was kind of the thought process. Like, we'll have an archive. We'll be able to track our bets. We'll be able to track some of our sports takes. This would be a fun way to do it. Me and Donnie used to do this on Discord a lot. We would keep track of our messages, and then we would keep each other accountable with, like, our receipts. I think we mentioned it, Donnie, but one of our biggest ones was Amon St. Brown. We were really high on when the Lions drafted him. Just felt like he was an absolute steal. And then so going back through our DMs over the years, we found that information, and it's like if we can archive this in a video form, it's great. Now, what happens is a lot of people at this time of year, unless you're a big baseball fan, there's not a whole lot of topics. But I actually think with DFS and sports betting and just like all the new offerings they offer, and the different sports like WNBA and niche sports like the UFL, there's a lot of fun kind of conversations. And even if you're into like the NFL, baseball is a year-round activity now. And I was going to say, Gov, you got into Dynasty this year for the first time too. So like that all that's got to be really fun, right? Like that's just a good way to play.
I mean, I was reluctant, honestly, but like I know all these guys. I know it's going to work. So it should be fine.
But I mean, has it like made you?
It hasn't really been like too stress worthy right now. Like I did a little extra research early that I didn't want to, just because I need to know who some of these rookies are that I'm going to be drafting in this Dynasty League. But for the most part, I looked at other stuff and made a plan, and everything seemed to work out. So like, this is helping me look at drafting starting for the year. Like, if these ADPs in this dynasty look anything like the ADPs I'm going to see when I do a best ball team or my own other season-long teams in August, cool. That's good to know.
See, I think it's a benefit to like because it keeps you involved in the community. Like I feel like there's no really dog days of sports left. Like with streaming rights and just different things you can watch. ESPN Plus has a 1,000 different things on now. I just feel like sports is just around. If you want to find something, there's something on. Golf has even got way more into like the younger generation and like welcoming sports. And even their new commissioner basically said he's going to lean in heavy to that. So I do think we'll see some like golf best balls and some of that kind of future predicting. Donnie, how are you feeling about? Because I know you're a big basketball guy, so I know you had a bunch of basketball takes to get off your chest.
I mean, right now it's just my cool-off period, getting ready for the NFL, warming back up into it. But to me, this is the dog days for me. I think we're still 70 days out from a sport I care about. So,
it's true. It's a little lackluster. There will be the occasional UFC event. There will be the occasional PGA event.
Yeah, see, both things I don't watch. I mean,
but I got into them late. Though. Well, UFC I was always into, but I got into golf.
I was going to say, like there will be I don't watch UFC, but if you told me John Jones was fighting someone, I might watch that UFC pay.
I think
there's certain guys I might watch. Same thing with golf. If it's a major, I might watch that.
Yeah, Logan. We got to get the viewers to see your face. It's been so long since we last went live.
Oh, I forgot my camera was totally off. Thank you for that, by the way. I had no idea.
We were staring at the wall.
I didn't turn my right light on either. I'll fix that in just a second.
So we did just have NBA draft. The Jazz have claimed that there's no plans to move Ace Bailey. Obviously, he's been a huge talking point.
Which is why I bet that, Donnie. We had a conversation this week off air. Like, I just thought he was so talented. I'm like, there's no way he falls out of the top 5.
But,
if I'm wrong about that, so be it. I put my money on it the moment I heard that.
There was talk about him not wanting to stick with the Jazz at all. So the NBA is an interesting spot, I think, with him.
Apparently, he still doesn't want to be on the team, according to some reports.
Just going out
Well, like I all power to him to do whatever he's actually allowed to do. Like, is he allowed to like not sign, sit out, and then just wait a year and be redrafted? Like, wasn't this a scenario when like first started? Like, kid didn't want to go where he wanted to go, so like, fine, I'll just go play in Europe for 3 years and then come back and be a free agent or something. Like, what's the rule?
I do think they have his bird rights, so he could go over and play overseas, and they would own his NBA rights.
Yeah.
But you're right; he could basically play out his contract at that duration, from what I understand.
Yeah,
That'd be a 3 or 4 year deal.
I don't think he'll do it. But I actually think the Jazz made the right decision to bet on talent.
Oh, I think the Jazz are 100% right. They had to do this. I mean, you had to make a move that could be franchise altering. That's who Ace Bailey is.
And let's be fair, I'm not even mad at the player either. He's a young guy. He's obviously talented, so he does have an ego. And with an ego like that, you're going to believe some things that are superhuman. Like, you need a bit of that attitude to be that, great. So of course he has a high.
Kind of underperformed at Rutgers last year.
But he's made a lot of money.
Didn't his teammate go ahead of him?
I'm not sure.
No, I think they
big
both
guys at Rutgers last year. They underwhelmed and were not a great team when they probably should have been.
Yeah. Well, some people are already comparing it to Michael Beasley's situation, like where it's like this prototype, this really athletic guy who just looked like a different guy in college, comes to NBA with an attitude. But like, we're also dealing with a different generation. Donnie hit on it with the NIL deals. Like, kids are making a lot more money.
Yeah. Dylan Harper went second. I didn't realize we were on the same team. I don't care about where they go to college, so news to me. But
well, that's kind of the point, though. Like, you don't even care where they're at, and he probably doesn't care as long as he makes money. I do think there's a culture thing. Like, I noticed it with the Lions when they first started to rebuild. Some people didn't want to believe in Brad Holmes. There was just this culture thing of like, okay, Brad Holmes can say the right things, Dan Campbell can have the right vision, but until I see it, I'm not actually going to trust the Lions can get off the mat. So, I mean, I get why he doesn't want to play for the Jazz because they haven't been relevant since Karl Malone and John Stockton.
Well, they had the little run with Donovan Mitchell and Rudy where they were not contenders, but they were respectable, very respectable, 60 wins.
I guess, but like that's my point, though. If you're not a contender, what are you in this league?
Well, they viewed themselves as a contender at the time.
Yeah, probably right.
But that was more so a Rudy Gobert thing.
I'm just saying I don't blame either side for it. But I'm more with Gov here. It's like whatever you choose to do, you have to live with the consequences. Like he can sit out if he wants, but
I'm just where did he want to go? Like he tanked so many interviews. What was the plan there? That you want to follow the Spurs who already have their guys?
I think he had a delusional opinion on it. I mean, and I don't even think it's necessarily a bad thing. It's just like, you need that sometimes to be a professional athlete. And I think these are the ramifications of it. Now, I think Gov kind of mentioned the greater points. Like, what do you do now? Is he actually going to hold out? Is he going to go to Spain? Or is he going to be like, I'm the best player. I don't even like my situation, but I'm going to outplay my contract. Because let's be honest, LeBron James kind of did that. LeBron James did the Cleveland thing, built the narrative, and was like, you know what, I'm going to go to the Heat. No one wanted him to go to the Heat when he did, but he had built up enough equity. I think what's weird is it's a rookie doing it. It's like it's a rookie.
He wanted to be in Cleveland though too. LeBron
was. I don't know if he wanted to be in Cleveland as much. Like he's from Cleveland. They did like. You're right. He basically played out the full amount that Cleveland could guarantee this is LeBron. After that, it was always up to him to sign with them. And he did go to Miami for 4 years. And
that's my point is like he built the equity to get there. Like he was a superstar at that point. Like he had done all that.
Again, he was the greatest player in the league and he was from that region. Like he was from Akron right around Cleveland. Like he was from that area.
So, but then you go to the Heat, you upset people, but it's like, well, at least a superstar played out his contract, made his decision. It's a bit
Where's
weird.
Bailey? Like, where's he actually from? Did he go to school around Rutgers? Like, did he live? Where did he live?
I have no idea.
Maybe that's where
I know nothing about Ace Bailey. besides his drama, that's only been the only thing that's been spoken about.
You know nothing about this man.
Is Tennessee, from Tennessee.
But how much
from Tennessee? So maybe he wants to.
It's not. It's not adding up.
Maybe
it's
Bulls. Maybe he wanted to play for the Bulls.
I'm telling you, I think it's a culture thing. He has this perception of the Jazz.
He thinks he's better than Josh Giddey and Kobe White. He's like, fuck them. Put me on the Bulls.
He didn't want to go to Philly. He didn't want to. He knew he wasn't going to the Mavs. His attitude wasn't going to allow him to the Spurs. He doesn't want to go to Charlotte. He didn't want to go to Jazz. He didn't want to go to the Wizards. Didn't want to go to the Pelicans. Like, where did you want to go? It's so stupid.
He just named all the shitty teams.
Again, I'm telling you, I think he thought, like, if I can just skip this part of my development and just not be on a bad team, I can win a championship, like, and he's not wrong.
He was trying to tank and hope that one of the good teams
like he gets the Thunders at
the 13th or 14th pick.
Yeah.
Like, he was hoping to be Shedeur. He was trying to Shedeur it. He wanted to Shedeur everything. He wanted to drop, be like, fuck it. I'll just be a goddamn late round pick, and I'll be picked up by the fucking Memphis or some shit.
That's the weird
because
thing.
He'll be the 22nd pick in the first round instead of the second.
I think he thought he could get both. I think he thought he could get with a good team, but still be drafted high in the first round. Like, I do think it's I don't even want to say an unhealthy amount of delusion. I just think it's the new generation's athlete, where they're going to call their shots and see if they can land.
Well, now the thing is, it's so easy to do it now. Where he's already a millionaire. What does it really matter? Unless he just wants to play basketball, he could quit today and he'd be set still.
I mean, this picture kind of articulates like the new modern athlete, where it's just like people want to play with their friends now. I'm not even saying it's a bad thing. Like, you should want to, like, hey, can we build super teams? Can I play with guys I like? That's what we do with DFS. I'm like, hey, I want to know Gov's opinion week 4 of the NFL season. I want to know who Gov's playing at quarterback. I might laugh at him. How often do me and you agree on quarterback, Gov? Very, very rarely. Like on Saturday nights when I go into the Discord channel, people laugh at me.
And it was crazy. I think we're playing the same quarterback.
I mean, I always mention like 1 or 2 quarterbacks, and then people will laugh at me, and then they'll work back towards the middle, but I really think we're at that point where people just want to play with their friends. Like, they almost want to create a coworker, like, after school program.
Like, everyone wants the 12-man office season-long pool that everyone can get into. That's what DFS can be and has been a lot of the times for us.
True. So would you say the NBA, like, I didn't watch any of the draft, but I'm getting further and further away from all the drafts. Like, the NFL just works on the weekends, and it's still and I like that they tip picks, but like, I'm getting further and further away from the draft just because I don't think it's
especially the NBA draft, because like a lot of times they're just drafting the most talented player and seeing if it fits them.
Yeah.
And like 90% of teams are built through free agency and signings anyway. Like you might draft that 1 or 2 core guys, and you might get a third if you're lucky, and if you do, you're probably a championship caliber team.
Yeah, out of the contenders, let's be honest, like the Thunder have mostly a lot of free agents and traded guys. Celtics might be the best team that's built from the draft.
No. See, that's the thing. I was about to say the opposite. Like, you have Tatum and Brown, and then you got lucky with Derek White, but you traded and signed.
Yeah, but they contended with the guys before.
Like yes, some of your other bench guys. Pritchard's been good. Hauser's been okay, but like a lot of the other guys are like mix and match dudes. Like, you have your 1 or 2 core. like Oklahoma City, like every one of their dudes who played in that finals game, in that final series, is a dude they drafted.
Not really.
Every single
Caruso isn't. Shea isn't. I mean, there's a...
No, they drafted Shea.
No, he was a Clipper. They got him in the Paul George trade.
That wasn't... No, they got the pick for him.
No,
in the Paul George trade.
He never played for the Clippers, though.
Yes, he did. He played for Doc Rivers, yes. And
He
Doc did
Never
not
played
want
a
to give him up.
minute for the Clippers.
You got to
I
fact check.
will look that up.
You got to fact check.
I don't like. Yeah, I gotta fact check him.
I'm an old sports guy, so maybe Donnie, you got some generational pull on me, and you stay up watching West Coast games. I don't think he played 1 minute for the Clippers.
He played his first year with the Clippers. He started most of that year. And Doc was not happy about that.
I mean, you
trade.
might be right.
Well, it's not that he was upset, but
I've been on the train. I think he's the most overrated superstar in the league. And if that take buries me, then it buries me. But like, I think his MVP run is going to be like Derrick Rose. It'll be like one magical season, and then we'll never hear from him again.
well, second in MVP 2023.
Okay, you're right.
He's
His
won it
first
this
year
year.
was with the
Fifth in
Clippers, and he
MVP
played 82 games that
2022.
year.
Yeah, I mean, it's a blind spot for me.
It's pretty solid.
I didn't know it at all.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So Shea and Caruso, but everyone else is just draft picks, like Jalen, Chet, the other Jalen, Wiggins, Kenrich, Dort.
So, but we got to figure a way to do more.
So like
NBA.
OKC again is the opposite. Like their main star, they got a major deal for him and a bunch of draft picks, and then the team is just him and all these draft picks that they've gotten. Whereas Boston's, they're one or two guys they hit on in the draft, and all these other dudes that are great fits around him.
Yeah. Maybe we have to.
I don't know which way is the right way to build. I like what Orlando's done. I think going all in on this works, but like.
There's a healthy mix.
It's Suggs who worries me about it. Of our big four now, it's Suggs who worries me.
Which Orlando, to your point, kind of did more of a blended thing where they got the young players and then they filled in when they thought their championship window was their widest, and then they went ahead and got some veterans that could really make a difference. Because I think that Bane move was huge. I like Bane with Orlando.
They gave up so much for him.
That's
It's
the thing.
just,
The key is Bane our fourth guy in the starting lineup? Because if he is, we are a championship caliber team. If he's not, if he's the number 3 and Suggs is kind of in, and it's Paulo Franz Bane, then we have a shot of getting knocked out by a super hot team like what Indiana did this year. Now, it won't be Indiana, but
this is like the year
Detroit
Cleveland has to do it.
could do something like that, or like this will probably be the last year of Cleveland's big four before they have to break up one of them.
Cleveland, well, if they don't win the East minimum this year in Cleveland, they got to give it up because the East is wide open. You got to step up at this point.
Right now, like if it's me, the team you got to worry about in the East is New York. Because they're going to have their dudes, and now they're going to be in probably a better rest schedule with their coach. It's just, will they still be able to gel? But since they all know each other from college, that should be no problem with them gelling.
I still think Giannis gets traded.
That's the key.
There's talk about
if Giannis stays in the conference and goes to Miami or something like that, then there's something. I've also heard the weird things where like Houston might now package Sengun and some other stuff for him.
Yeah.
And you'll have a Giannis Durant super team in Houston.
Yeah,
which sounds stupid.
The rumors are like Giannis still is very movable. The Celtics are making a bunch of calls still, and the Rockets still want to make another big move. So there's still 3 teams that have pieces that will be interesting that could be moved.
The Rockets, like, honestly, they now need it. Like, just gonna say this: if the Rockets could now flip Van Vliet and a few other wings and maybe a bunch of picks for Ja, and now you have Ja, Durant, and Sengun as your big three.
It's possible.
You do. I do think
try to give up more picks. Keep this depth that you already have that works with everyone.
So we're all in agreement though. Van Vliet last season was kind of like fool's gold, and it's get off him.
No, Van Vliet is a solid player. He's just older.
He went crazy in the playoffs, so I don't think he has that.
He had to because Jalen Green got absolutely no. Like the reason you were fine trading Jalen Green for Durant is because if Jalen Green is not going to be the guy who can get you a bucket in the playoffs, and he couldn't the entire series against Golden State, who does not have an amazing defender. Sorry, not sorry. But
that series got him traded.
Well, not an amazing guard defender, to be fair.
Like that series got him traded, exactly.
It really did. It wasn't a nail. It was the packing tape. It was.
That's why you went and got Durant. So Durant is a dude who you know will be able to eat. Like he has a shot he can get on the floor, and he'll be able to get it till he's 50.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they went for.
As long as he can physically walk around and do it, he'll have that shot, and it'll be open. So I think you go and get that guy and put it on your team for right now.
It was, we don't care if he's here for 1 year or for 2 years. We know if he's on the team and he's at least somewhat functional, we are a championship team. With Green, we can dance around this potential game all we want. He hasn't been good enough. Speaking of,
they're missing guards. That's what Houston needs.
To kind of pull this in, because like everyone can probably tell, we're huge basketball fans, but we don't talk about it enough from a strategy perspective. I mean, even we spent so much time on the UFL. How do we actually enjoy more basketball? Like, because there's a lot of talk of the NBA being in a bad spot with all these injuries, and like some people hate Adam Silver now. There's that narrative like, oh, to boo him in the draft like they do with Roger Goodell. But I think the NBA is in a great spot. I don't know how to cover it from a DFS perspective, though, just because the sweat is so intense.
I think the public narrative of the NBA is just stupid. Like, I think we're being told by certain players, ex-players, that the game sucks, and the national broadcasting of it is saying that the game sucks. It's good basketball. I'm sorry. There's fun teams to watch. There's no way you could watch that final series and think, oh, this sucks. The worst part was Tyrese Halliburton didn't get to finish the game.
I think
it was a really good series.
Yeah. I've said this. I think of all the sports, I think basketball is the most artistic sport, like with just the movement and the fluidity. And like you can also see the players' faces. There's a lot of like visualization that I don't think a lot of other sports capitalize on. So it's not built for everyone. So I think what happens is it's hard for the casuals to follow, but I think some of the content for basketball is the best. It's just the timing of the games and how many games. It kind of has a baseball-like feel where it's like the timing of the games. They're at weird times. They haven't really given away their this season. I think is big for them. They got back with NBC. They're getting with Amazon now. Like, getting to the streaming wars and buying into just more alternative ways to be seen, I think is going to be huge, because I think you're right, Donnie. The product on the court is actually good.
It is.
And I want to mention really quickly, because it just popped in my head, the streaming rights I think is huge for basketball, because basketball has a huge international audience. And so I know this, we talked about MMA, but there's a huge international influence in MMA. It's literally represented around the world. And I know, especially the UK people love their MMA. They will stay up to 3 or 4 in the morning to watch, the cards of the MMA. So if you can distribute NBA, they will find it. So the streaming alternative is a really cool match. And maybe we just have the wrong people talking, like the wrong old heads. I know Amazon hired Steve Nash and Dirk Nowitzki. They're doing some cool creative things, speaking of teammates getting them back together. I actually think the NBA could be on the rise in terms of popularity.
Well, I mean, when you have, let's be honest, the most popular probably NBA face being Shaq, telling people, "Oh, I don't watch the Pistons because they're boring." If you thought the Pistons were boring this year, you're just, to me, not a basketball fan. Like, you just don't like basketball, or the NBA basketball specifically.
I would disagree. You don't like your old man basketball, but you've always loved the old man basketball.
But the Pistons didn't even play like a crazy new age basketball. That was,
I know that's the style you like. That's what I'm saying. Like, you don't mind going back in the.
It was tenacity. It was like, there's no way that, I don't know what Shaq wanted exactly out of it. Okay, they didn't win as much games as you'd love, but you blatantly just didn't know. You're not even paying attention.
Yeah, he wants you to pay attention.
That's sort of Shaq's point. Like, yeah, no, I'm not paying attention. So, like, if I'm not paying attention, they're not even showing me anything on Detroit. I never see this team.
Well, it was blatantly false stuff that he said on TV. And if you're saying false stuff like that on TV, it's like,
it's not exactly false though. The Pistons.
Well, he specifically said they were well below 500 and they were above 500 at the time. So it's just, I mean, complete falsehoods. It doesn't help. The NBA needs to get better at getting people to talk about the sport who like the sport.
Maybe, but I think having some contrarian is a good thing. Like, I have no problem with a political guy coming on and saying, I didn't like, the State of the Union, and here's why. I don't like stupid opinions. Like, if you're just going to make up lies about the Pistons, or you're going to say something that's totally false, that would be something else. But if you want to be contrarian, I'm okay listening. Because I do think Gulf had a point. Like, the Pistons might be your brand of basketball, but they weren't on TV very excessively. Like, they were not. And they were blacked out for me unless I use the local feed, which I don't have. So I know how many national games they got, because those are the games I could watch. And they didn't get very many. So, like, they kind of earned their spot in the league.
I can't name one person. Team. That's not true. I shouldn't say that. But off the top of my head, I can name probably 10 people who talk about the sport negative and maybe 2 people who talk about it consistently positive stuff. Like, that's not a good look. The NFL has people who talk about the sport and like the sport and try to teach people the sport, not
I don't know.
Shame it.
For example, Jake Paul's fighting this week, and he's not for everyone. Boxing hates that guy, but he draws numbers. So sometimes you do, like Kendrick Perkins and Bill Simmons are apparently jabbing back and forth at each other, and I really think it's just to generate chaos and attention. It's not our kind of information. I know Guff, he would much rather listen to like a spreadsheet or like someone break down like the numbers or the minutes projections, but that's just not everyone. But do we do more best ball drafts for the NBA? Like, how do we get more involved? Because I do think there's a DFS or a gambling element to cracking the NBA that hasn't been cracked yet. I found that the drafts were really good, like the snake drafts. Just not a lot of people play them.
Personally, the NBA is king of props just because of how many games can play. They play games nightly through the season. It's just what you can do with a home run prop or a strikeout prop or that, which is basically the main 2 things you can do with baseball. You can do 5 different stats in NBA. Basically in baseball, you can do home runs, hits, ribbies, and strikeouts, and that's anything else is just might as well be playing DFS if you're taking all of that into account.
That's a great point though, just because of the pace of play in basketball. Everything is fast moving, so it does lend itself really well to a I know a lot of people that don't even watch the NBA very often, but they'll watch who scores the first basket. I know a lot of gamblers will bet on first basket because it's a quick it's a quick bet. You can bet it. You can watch 10 minutes of basketball, and then you can be on to the next thing. I don't think Donnie likes those kind of people, but they generate attention.
Well, the people I follow for basketball love first basket bets. But
I never really thought about that, though. You're probably right. It's a fast-paced sport where a lot of other sports, especially around baseball is a very event-based sport where basketball is constantly moving. That's a good point. Was there any other major sports off-season topics?
Well, I know today, I know I posted in the Discord. We didn't talk about it at all. Justin Tucker got his suspension finally, but weirdly, he can serve it as a free agent, which I don't know how that works because I thought you had to be under contract for your suspension.
I think it's what the league is basically like. The league could basically put in a special clause for Justin Tucker, and I think they did so because he's a kicker. I don't know the legalities behind it, but basically like kind of like the exempt list. We know what it is and we know its purpose.
If you were to be signed before week 1, you'll have to sit out the first couple weeks. But if they don't sign you until like week 10, you're fine.
Yeah. Exactly. Like I know why the exempt rule is there, and this suspension just kind of seems like the same thing. I know why the suspension is written the way it is. I think if he was a quarterback, people would have a much bigger problem because it would draw more attention. Because he's a kicker, I think everyone's just going to look the other way.
Do you think he gets signed, or is he just like if an injury happens, does he get another shot?
Kicker's so important and it's so interchangeable.
I think if an injury happens, someone will call him.
He
like anyone.
He was really bad last year.
He had a historically bad year for himself.
Yeah, he was bad for Justin Tucker.
Yeah, who is historically very, very good.
Well, I think
he's usually a really good kicker, and last year he had an unusually bad year, and then all this stuff comes out. So, like, maybe it had something to do with it. It was on his mind or something.
Yeah. It's either false or not false, but you can't say it wasn't at least in his toxic orbit. Like you can't say a bunch of rumors about me and then for me not to at least react to them. I might be reacting because they're true or because they're false, but you still, you're right. Like that energy around him is still going to affect him in some way. You would think. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I mentioned this analogy before, but it's kind of like the MMA fighter where it's like, you can win a bunch of fights in a row, but you start losing a couple of bad losses. It doesn't matter your legacy. You can be a world champion 5 years ago. It's kind of an event-based sport where if you get knocked out really bad and it looks bad visually, then you might not get another chance. I think of kicking kind of the same way. They're not like an quarterback where they get like 30 attempts a game. When you come in to kick, you get like 4 or 5, and especially if people are used to you being automatic and then all of a sudden you're not, it's visually very jarring. So, he deserves another chance, but because of the optics, I don't know if he'll get one.
The allegations are pretty severe. I don't know. If those are true, I don't think he deserves another chance.
Well, it's also including those in the optics. Like, it's a whole picture. You can't just say, like, oh, he's a good kicker, so let's give him a chance. John Jones got another chance in MMA because he's such a good fighter. Like, he did some horrible shit. He's a horrible guy. But he got some chances because he was really talented. The optics of what Justin did off the field do not match the talent he brings to the field now. With an injury, maybe that opens up. But, we'll see. And let's be honest, that's the truth with Watson, with the Browns. If he was playing a lot better, people would be willing to forget all the other off-field optics. Now, me and Donnie, who are more journalistic and more humanity-based, we would still hate it. But you know damn well, he would be forgiven for a lot of things. Like, unfortunately, we do kind of look the other way sometimes when it comes to talent versus off-the-field stuff.
Yeah. I just wonder how much more, because granted, he was young at the time. Matt Ariza, even though that came out to be false, he lost over a year of his NFL career, and he was young and one of the best punters in the league. So I just wonder how much the NFL is really willing to do with a special teamer.
Which, let's be honest, because sometimes I'm wrong because I wear passions on my sleeve. Sometimes I want to be like, oh, this offseason, bad thing happened, this story happened. So as I've aged, I've learned that I want to know the truth, and sometimes the truth doesn't come out right away, and sometimes there's a lot of stuff to sort through. And we got to remember these players are real players too, And I don't know. I'm starting to get more sympathy for the players in these situations, or the situation in general. I'm more sympathetic to. I don't want to do almost an instant reaction. I do kind of want to wait and see. Just because with the AI and so much misinformation out there, you got to be really careful. before you cast judgment, I feel like. Okay, so let's get to some fun topics though to kind of wrap this up. How early when is the absolute worst time to do best ball? Like, if we were going to do an early best ball, did we miss like the prime window for like the fun rookies or the like really outsmart people? Or like, is this the bad time?
Nothing's finalized on teams yet. Like, there's a few OTA stuff, but nothing major. There's no huge injuries that have happened or anything. So like, if you wanted to be like the early drafter, now is still a good time to go.
Yeah. I think I've been hearing a lot about the Panthers, honestly. Like, I've just been really tapped into Panthers OTAs and stuff, I guess. Because I've heard nothing but great stuff out of the wide receiver rooms. Between the young guys they have, and apparently Hunter Renfro's looking really good. Like, they just have...
Oh, yeah, Renfro looks so much better. Like,
which he had an illness, and that's why he kind of left the NFL for a bit. It was I forget what
ulcerative colitis.
Yes. Yeah. So
he had that great year and then developed that and was kind of crappy for 2 years. And now that he's got that under control, his weight is back up and he seems to be doing much better. Yeah.
Like, at first I was like, man, I really like this Panthers receiver room for guys I might want to draft early. And now it's like, they might just have a full row.
I want to invest in Young, however I can do it. Like, I might bet his props, his like season-long props. I was actually thinking about doing this. You'd be the guy to talk to about Gov, because you're a Panthers guy. I love what Eric Eager's done. I've been on Young, so there's no reason for me not to cheer for the Panthers. I want to do this. Do I bet their win total or the division? That's where I'm at. And I only do a couple days a year.
What's the win total at, and what's the odds on the division?
I don't know, but I can look.
Total, just like
I could look. Let me look.
I'm willing to bet you got great odds on the division, but to say Tampa Bay's receiving core is so stacked, and they're passing.
Give me what
like.
But I mean, honestly, I don't know how much you know about Eric Eager, but I love that he's into analytics. Like, he's into fantasy football. So like, I'm biased. Like, he's one of us, if you will. He literally had a gambling and betting show like on Sunday nights after all the games, and he would break down all the games. He's definitely one of us. So that does make me. But I mean, I love a lot about that team. I've always been a Bryce Young guy. You're a fan of them, so it just makes sense. That division, by the way, that South division has always been terrible and a
wishy-washy. Yeah, I wouldn't even say terrible, because they have one team usually every so often that pops out, and it's like, man, they should run this for the next couple of years, and then they don't run it for the next couple of years.
For lack of a better word, it's like the sloppy Joe division. It's like really sloppy, but for some reason, it's a really fun division for me to watch. Let's pull up the futures here. Division winners, let's see. Because a lot of people are on the Atlanta Falcons, and I could see it. Like, I like Penix too, but
I'm guaranteeing that the Panthers will have the third best odds.
Trying to slow roll this.
Yeah, third.
250 plus 1200.
That makes sense.
Plus 400.
Yeah. So Tampa's favored.
And I know the favorite bet from this division, like the cool.
And Atlanta's favored ahead of us. But yeah. So plus 400, or what's our win total at? So.
And I know Atlanta is like the fun bet for a lot of people to make because it's plus money.
Well, everyone just likes Penix.
Yeah. And they want to believe in like the upside of like a Kyle Pitts or a London. Like, they got
there's a wins tab outside of futures.
Oh, that's what it is. That's what I was thinking, Donnie. Panthers. There it is. Actually, this is a better tab because this actually tells.
So 6.5.
What number do you like?
6.5 is basically where their line is.
Yeah.
I think the 8.5 is better than the division bet.
Because you could get 8.5 easier, and you're still getting plus 200.
Yeah, I think the 8.5 is that right at that good mark.
Well, here was what I was going to say. if you're going to win the division,
Just bet both.
parlay it with the 10.5.
They would have to win 10 minimum. That is true.
Minimum. And I think 11 is actually what they'd have to win.
I'm right there with you.
They'd have
We're
to
going to
win
go
all.
over that a little bit
If
more.
you take that, then you take the plus 600 on the 10.5 too.
Now that's the right way to do it. If you truly believe they'll win the division.
Yeah. Because, like, if you thought they would win the division and basically win the bare minimum, like, that's a risky bet anyways. It's all like, you might as well just bet they're gonna have a good season, and that 10.5 looks more appealing. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. Because if they win 11, they should win the division. That's 100% right.
Yep. So this would be a good topic though. Is there any NFL team that's getting a lot of buzz, or like maybe it's player takes, maybe it's like coaching, anyone that's getting a lot of buzz that you don't like? I mentioned the Atlanta Falcons, and I like the Panthers as like a sleeper team that no one's talking about. Is there a sleeper team for you? You can go Homer if you want.
I mean, I've been watching my Panthers. I haven't really been watching too much else.
Your Patriots are getting a lot of attention, Donnie.
They're getting a lot of attention, but I think they're around that 8-9 win team. You know, they might squeak out an extra game and win 10 and sneak into that wild card spot. But you know, I think they're properly evaluated. Now, the people who think they're going to win 11-12, you're on crack, because Drake May is going to lose you a game or two just by turning it over.
I like them, but the problem is I feel like it's basically like big time wrestling or something. Like, everyone's got a gimmick with the Patriots. Like, everyone knows, Vrabel. So they're like, oh, he's a great heel. He's a great manager. He's a fun, like, people just, they want to rally against things they know,
Yeah, in the red zone offense, like the red zone offense in OTAs, oh my God, it looks great. Trevion Henderson's the red zone guy. And okay, but that's not real rep. So I don't care. At this point, I don't care. Yeah, I want to believe they'll be back into that 7 seed spot. I think they get swept by Buffalo. They're in that kind of range still. They're still the second best in the division at best.
Or as weird as it is, like, all the negative stuff about Bill Belichick kind of makes the Patriots look like more of a fun bet. Like, yeah, we got rid of that weird guy that couldn't draft wide receivers. He's doing weird things in the offseason. See, we're totally avoid from that. Now we got the young quarterback with all these fun, young, new wide receivers. Like, and so basically that whole industry's talked themselves into, like, now we're going to
Diggs had the boat situation too. So I mean, we've had a noisy offseason. Not used to.
I was about to say, so all these fun, young, new wide receivers and Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, it's true. I would dump Stephon Diggs right now.
He's clearly the best receiver on the Patriots. It's not even close. I mean, truly. It's not close.
Not to me, it's not.
There's not a number two. Like, they all look so bad. They all look so bad still.
Whatever that pink substance was that you were having fun with, keep having fun with that. We're going to take back our contract.
Hey, if the NFL decided not to drug test the dude and he didn't fail a drug test, that's not my problem as an owner.
Hey, I'm with you. I'm just saying. I don't want the talent whether he's on drugs or not. Like,
listen, I guarantee you a lot of the players are doing that same substance.
They could be, but I don't know. I'm asking Roger Goodell, hey, is there any way we can get this guy on the exempt list? We made a mistake. We want to cut ties with him. I don't know. Stephon Diggs has never been my guy.
He's never been my guy either, but when you're desperate, listen.
Hey, man. Adrian
I've seen it. They look so bad, Logan. Jalen Polk is not a good receiver. I can tell you that right now.
Hey, Adrian Peterson was on the line at one point, and I never cheered for him, but I had to cheer for the result that he brought my team sometimes. So you do some weird things. Go any teams that's under the radar for most people that you feel like could be a DFS story, could be just a fun story to watch?
With everything that's happened so far.
I mean,
just this year, just like the vibe.
Yep.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Colts had an oddly weird good year.
And
it would probably have to come from Daniel Jones.
It looked like I planned that cough. I promise you I didn't, but I wanted to ask you.
I wouldn't have blamed you though.
Is it Daniel Jones or Richardson? And I asked that under the guide. Which one would you think wins the more games? Like if you could crystal ball it right now, and I said, which one do you think actually wins the more games? Not which one starts.
Daniel Jones, probably.
Yeah.
Well, even in the world of which one wins them more games, you got to think Anthony Richardson can't play more than 8 games in a season. So,
well, the funny thing about that, Donnie, is everyone that never does this, but Daniel Jones is just as reckless with his body. He might not be the athlete. I mean, he is a good athlete, but he's not the athlete of Richardson. But
everyone underrates how athletic Daniel Jones is because he slipped on that big run. Like
I agree with that. They underrate how athletic he is, and probably overrate how
he had one bad moment on a national television. I think it was in a London game or something. Like it was a weird time.
It was rainy,
and everyone saw it, and what a shame.
It was probably one of those weird national games on like a Thursday night, something like that. We were talking too much Daniel Jones. We lost go. He cut his internet. He said, "I'm done with this conversation."
I think
you're killing me. You guys are killing me.
I think
I brought it up to be crazy, but like the vibe of Indy in the so you had the Pacers do so well this year. You had the Indy 500 and stuff like that happen very well. Like I just thought like that could be a weird vibe that could just go through. Like when cities are feeling good, somehow all the sports teams do good.
Well, here's some teams that we didn't mention. I know a lot of people are excited for as like a sleeper team. The Oakland Raiders, because of Pete Carroll and apparently his energy, and then everyone's just loving
the Vegas Raiders.
Oh yeah, I would do that still, but yeah, Vegas Raiders.
Because that's where they belong, Logan.
Hey, man. I still remember Hayward Bear too, but that's a whole other story. And then the other team is the Jacksonville Jaguars. People aren't ready to give up on Trevor Lawrence. And as sad as it is, I don't know if I'm ready. He sucks me in every year. And now you got Hunter. You got, I think if they stayed healthy, they'd be a fun team. But we could say that almost every year about every good team.
For me, DFS team I'm most excited about, because I'm curious how the coaching will change over this year now that the roster's more his way, is how the Chargers look in year 2 of Harbaugh, and they changed the running back room a bit more, and receiver room's definitely a little bit better with Mike Williams back over there. You got Ladd year 2.
That's a good name, Donnie. Actually triggered because I remember a DFS guy you like to play because he's always cheap and you liked his upside. Conklin got a bunch of praise recently in the Chargers camp for looking.
It's not a perfect roster, but it's more a Harbaugh roster.
It is, and I don't know what happened to Conklin. If he just I will say his body looked the best it's ever looked in his life to me. It was very strange. So there we go. I don't know if we got any more left. Like I said, I just wanted to bring the guys together. I just wanted to show you that we're still alive. I just want to have a vibe out show. Sometimes I think we forget to do that. We get so much into the weeds about building the perfect lineup and stuff like that. So even if you hate it, here's a secret. Engagement is important. So you want to leave a comment and laugh at me, go ahead. You want to thumbs down this, whatever you want to do, just give us some engagement, because I was looking at the metrics the other day. We have a lot of people that watch the show, not a lot of people that subscribe, but we have seen some growth. It would be really cool if we could get to 180 before the NFL season. So that's my goal for you guys to see if we can hit. I don't think we'll get there, but I'm very pessimistic. And so maybe you guys will prove me wrong, and then Donnie will be proud. That's usually how it goes in my life. But with that being said, good night, guys. Have a good one.
Peace out, everyone.